Good morning, afternoon, evening or nighttime, wherever and whenever you may be watching. Thanks for clicking. Today I'm going to be talking about the latest offering from Zoologist, and that is Snowy Owl. Firstly, to touch on the company, their roundabout prices, their bottles and whatnot. I believe they're a Canadian-based company fronted by Victor Wong, and their fragrances are all named after animals. And what, as to my knowledge, they go for is the animal's habitat. So unlike, if you've got, like they do the animal panda, unlike smelling directly like that big mammal, it smells like bamboo shoots, it smells like fresh greenness and whatnot, where that animal would probably inhabit. The company do offer 2ml samples, but mainly their full bottle presentation is 60ml, normally extrait de parfum, if not all of them are extrait de parfum, but 60ml, and they can run for about £165 UK, and then these handy 10ml travel sprays, which I think would be about £35, sort of between that £30 and £40, but fair play to them for doing a travel spray. Not every company does it, and it gives you a good idea. Where these are extrait de parfums, 10ml will still take you a while to go through, so I'm very glad the company offer it. I only own one full bottle from Zoologist, and that is Rhino, and I love it. It's one of my favorite scent profiles ever. I also own a travel spray of Bee, but when I heard they were making Snowy Owl, I was excited. I not only love owls, but my favorite season is winter. I love snow. I like the cold. Perhaps it's because I'm a postman, who knows, but I had to get it. And as well, in the top notes of this, it does say a snow accord, as well as coconut, mint and lily of the valley at the top. So do I get that? So right off the top of this one, do you know what, it may just be because I'm out and about. I've only ever smelled this in the house, and I've just gone for a walk in these really nice woods and being out in the fresh air, and there's a sweetness that's coming through that wasn't there before. What I had initially when I was spraying it in the house was a very earthy quality going on that reminded me a little bit of Bat, which is another fragrance by Zoologist, and a little bit of Gaia by Centauri Perfumes. But there's this sweetness coming through now. It's definitely not as earthy, and it's definitely not as dirty as Bat is. There's, like I said, there's definitely a fresh quality to it that reminds me a little bit of Bat, but it's not as dirty, it's not as cavernous and damp earth smelling as Bat is. There's this lovely sweetness coming through, like I said, just now in the outdoors, that I can only assume is the coconut, maybe a touch of the mint, giving it a bit of sweetness. Like sometimes you can get sweet mint like you get in mojitos and whatnot, but ultimately what I'm getting is this very fresh, piercing, kind of cold smell. In the mid of this fragrance is iris, snowdrop, white rose, which I don't think I've ever come across before in perfume, but the iris, maybe just a touch, but not. My main experience of iris is things like Dior Homme, if I'm being honest, and Ooh La La by Theo Cabanel. But this is definitely more that perhaps vegetal iris, like the iris root, as opposed to the powdery floral iris. But the white rose is an interesting one. Potentially that is what's giving it the sweetness at the top. I'm not too sure. But it kind of reminds me of like ice cold fresh air in a way. And that coconut, I don't want to say it's given off like a creamy vibe, because that may resemble like sweet or thick or things like that, but maybe like a ice cold milk. But it doesn't smell milky, but it smells, there's a creaminess, but it's ice cold. Getting onto the dry down and the base notes of Snowy Owl. I remember the notes in there are cedar, musk, oak moss, vanilla. It's been on this hand now for about an hour, and I am struggling to smell it, if I'm being honest, which is surprising for a zoologist because they're normally beast mode. But A, I'm outdoors, there's a lot of different smells going on, it's fresh, it's March, and B, it's called Snowy Owl, it's meant to resemble snow. You don't want it to smell like this super strong, cloying. It's meant to smell transparent and thin and fresh, you know what I mean? I think the cedar wood, it doesn't make it a woodsy fragrance, but cedar, in my experience, can give a crisp, precise finish to a fragrance. It can have that sort of like clean, precise feeling, if that makes sense, like almost professional. The musks is still there. I still get a hint of that coconut creaminess, but again, don't think of this as a tropical fragrance. It definitely isn't. It's an icy, like an iced drink with a touch of coconut in there. Freshness coming from, and floral notes coming from the lily of the valley and the white rose, but it's not like a bouquet. It's not like an old smelling fragrance in that sense. It's just, does it smell of snow? Which is arguably the main thing it's going for, like a fresh forest with snow. Hard to tell, because if you try and think about what snow smells like, it's pretty hard to put into words. Do I like it though? Yes. Am I curious what it's going to do in the summertime? Definitely. And that's my thoughts on one of the latest releases, Snowy Owl by Zoologist. I do like it. I like it a lot. I like that it falls in line with Zoologist's perfumes. You know, I think the day that I smell something from them and it reminds me of a designer is going to be a sad day. Zoologist always push the boundaries. I love it. I think it's the pinnacle of niche and indie's a better word, indie perfumes. It's daring. This one isn't as daring as some of their other offerings. This is definitely a more mass appealing, fresh sense, but it's not going to appeal to everybody. Try and get a sample of it or this handy travel spray. If you guys have smelled this one, if you like the sound of the notes, if you know anything that's similar to this, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Peace.